The clouds. We are officially being recorded. Hello, everyone. Hopefully you all can see my screen. I don't know. Can I get from somebody that everyone can see my screen okay?
I can see it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Well, welcome everybody. Excited to have you all here. I apologize. It's been maybe a month or two since I've had the most recent meeting with all the holidays and craziness going on. Excited to have you all here today to talk about the releases specific to the insurance world here for Salesforce. I originally was going to be doing the winter release and the spring release. My counterpart over at Salesforce had something come up and they are not able to join us today for the spring release portion. So we're going to do winter today. I have lots to show you. And then I'm actually going to reschedule for the spring one coming up here in the next week or so. If anyone in the Salesforce world knows, there's a fiscal year end for Salesforce that happens next week. And so these last couple of days have been a little crazy on top of people being sick from all of the hot and cold temperatures everywhere. So we'll go over the spring release information coming up soon, but there's a lot of really cool things that are happening in winter that I wanted to make sure that you guys all got to see, and I've got some demos and things as well. Okay. All right. Well, first off, I just want to say thank you to everyone who is here. I take time out of my day to do this for you all on a regular basis, and it wouldn't be what it is if you guys weren't here. So thank you for taking time out of your lunch or sometime in the morning, depending on where you are. Maybe it's even evening to kind of come and join the Trailblazer community groups. This is specifically for insurance. We also have a lot of the financial services cloud information that's in here as well. And I've been kind of co-leading both of those recently. So I'm going to sprinkle a couple of things in there for that. The wealth, asset management, and banking components as well as we kind of move forward. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day to spend an hour or so with me as we kind of go through the latest and greatest
انت
things.
اديت الكريدت كاردز تبع جان؟ ايه لا ما فيك تعمل هيك.
لا ما في جان دافع تبع لسه.
All right, and I think I got somebody muted there, so I think we're good. If you guys could just stay muted. Again, I'm open to any and all dialogue. If anybody wants to ask questions or things, just as you're coming in, just make sure that you stay muted if you're not asking questions or in specific conversation with us. I know that a lot of people multitask on these things, so no worries. All right, I'll do a quick introduction of myself. I see a lot of new faces that are on here. So welcome to everybody who is here. My name is Danielle Laffey. I actually work for a consulting partner which is called Silverline for Salesforce. I'm the principal of insurance solutions there. A little bit of background about me. I've been in the ecosystem for about 20 years in total. I started out as a solution architect back in the day. I worked on Marketing Cloud and Sales and Service Cloud. I was actually the beta customer for the connector between the two way back in the day, and was an accidental admin, like maybe many of you who are out there. And then kind of over time went into consulting. I've been in consulting for about 10 years now in total, and have been very focused on the insurance space for probably 7 or 8 of those years. I actually worked as a subcontractor consulting for ProServe, and many of my major clients who I was assigned to were insurance companies, which is what got me interested in insurance to begin with, and have kind of continued that on along the way. I've been a user group leader since 2007. Because I was an accidental admin and had no idea what I was doing, I decided to start a user group, and I was the 5th user group globally. We have I don't know, close to 3,000 now, I think, globally. So it's definitely grown, and excited to share feedback with you all. And then also if you guys are wanting to talk to each other, love to have dialogue between the user group members as well. I am a Salesforce MVP. If you guys are not familiar with that program, it basically just means that I like to hang out with the community and share my expertise and all of the cool solutions that I get to see built for customers, clients. And I work pretty heavily with the product teams as well at Salesforce to bring everything specific to the insurance and financial services space in. This is my 4th time being an MVP. There's 112 of us globally. Working on hopefully being the 5th year, which means that I get to go into the Hall of Fame potentially. As I mentioned before, I also do marketing information. I started out in the exact target marketing cloud world back in the day, built that connector. So I am a marketing champion. I do believe that marketing is not just leads marketing, but it is communications across your entire life cycle of your customer, policyholder, depending on where you sit, maybe your agents or agencies that are out there too. So I am a marketing champion and love that technology as well. And then if you have not gotten involved in any of the Dreamin' events, I specifically sit Florida Dreamin'. I'm located in Tampa, Florida area, hence my virtual background of the beach. I wish I was there today and not in my office. But we started Florida Dreamin' a few years ago. And if you guys have not checked out any of the Dreamin' events that are local, it's basically bringing Dreamforce to you to a certain extent. Some of them have a little bit different focus depending on which ones they are, but there are probably 50 or so across the globe. So definitely check out any Dreamin' events. You can go to, you can just Google the Dreamin' events for Salesforce and you'll see a laundry list of them. And I'm a founding board member for Florida Dreamin' as well. Awesome. So again, we are here to succeed together. If you guys have questions, please ask as we're kind of going through this presentation. I am happy to help in any way that I can as we move forward. If I don't have the right answer, I feel as though that it's really hard to have the answer to absolutely everything as one single person. I can get it for you, or maybe somebody else on the call has come up with something that you are interested in chatting about. So please feel free to have some dialogue in any way, shape, or form. Oh, thank you, Amy. Appreciate that. I'll also bring my chat up over here because I realized I didn't have my chats up. All right, forward-looking statements. So again, if you've been in the ecosystem in any way, shape, or form for a while now, you'll know that you need to buy based on what's available today. This is a release that's come out, so all of these things should be generally available to you, but just make sure that you're paying attention to what's actually available and not forward-looking statements of things where, you know, it's going GA in a certain time frame in the future. All right. So I want to talk. There we go. All right, so I want to talk a little bit about Financial Services Cloud and some of the winter themes that came out in winter 24. We've got quite a few themes that are sitting in here. Some of the front and middle office automations was definitely a big theme here. We've got the customer service innovations. Again, AI, ChatGPT, those kinds of things have been kind of brought into, and any Einstein related items have also been brought in. We'll talk a little bit about some of those. There's some servicing templates and automations that are available for you all now in the download perspective. We've got personalized financial engagement information that we'll kind of discuss as well. And then very specific insurance innovations kind of around some group retirement, group onboarding and those kinds of things. So let's go ahead and kind of dig in and get started. All right, so first things first, onboarding console application. If you guys have not seen this yet, it is really cool. It's in Financial Services Cloud. If you had Financial Services Cloud prior to and had Velocity Managed packages put into it, I will say that there is one caveat to this that I did not learn until I was actually trying to configure everything in there, that you have to have the managed services kind of runtime updates turned off in order for this information to be shown. That I spent hours trying to figure out why I couldn't see things and finally found it in some of the buried documentation that's out there. But these are really cool out-of-the-box templates. We'll take a look at a couple of them that kind of help with application intake, onboarding, workflow orchestrations, and account originations or policy originations. Goodness, trying to say that 3 times fast is hard. We've got the document matrix. I kind of joke in the insurance world, anyone who is in the insurance industry really loves their documents in every way possible, right? Whether it's something that's printed out or something that is generated and sent electronically. There's obviously a lot of documentation that needs to be involved around some of the regulations and policies and information that's coming in and around. They have some really cool updates to document matrices, including some engine rules that allow for some customer attributes. to come in and depending on how you want to set up your matrices, you have the ability to add significant amount of documents and merges in together to be able to kind of create one final package, if you will, which is also incredibly important. And it's an accelerator that at Silverline we had built a couple of years ago. So I was really excited to see that this is now kind of full circle in and available, and templates available for you. We've got some self-service capabilities that are in there. Some of them are more banking focused. I will say, as I've kind of walked through some of the use cases and with clients that I have these days, there's a lot of, and I also just listened to Evan Groot. If you guys are not familiar with him, he is one of the insurance advisors at Salesforce overall. He did an industry trends report recently, and there is a lot of cross collaboration between the different financial services organizations overall. So I'm seeing a lot of banks who are now trying to sell insurance, and I'm seeing a lot of insurance who's trying to sell annuities. So there's a lot of cross-pollination, if you will, or cross-selling, cross-products around the financial services space right now. So while you might see that it was built specifically for a banking purpose, I think that there are some applications that can be taken place to policies and insurers overall. So I just wanted to make sure that we touched on that a little bit. We've got the transaction dispute management data model that came out with some guided forms and things like that. We'll talk a little bit about that. Some of the service processes and templates that are available to you from a financial services space, and then financial goals and plans as well. All right, so talking just a little bit about integrated onboarding. The integrated onboarding, this is huge, especially when it comes to, I feel like I'm finding this a lot in a lot of the clients that are out there as group. But overall, you have to bring on your either your agents or your clients in some way, shape, or form in an integrated onboarding fashion. Typically, when they had originally brought in Velocity into Salesforce, this was something that was kind of added on, and you had the framework to do it, but they didn't necessarily have templates or things that were out there. Now they've got some templates available for you. And they've also got the discovery framework that's there that has quite a few decision flows and things like that as well. We've got that kind of application through your data collections, that validation and verification information that needs to happen for compliance regulations, et cetera, that approval, and then opening an account or opening a policy, et cetera, with your people, and then continuing to monitor that going forward. So you can see here, there's several different pieces within those frameworks that are available for you guys, both in the back end and being able to set some of this information up from a data collection perspective, repositories, and matrices that are available. And then they've also got some consoles that are kind of pre-configured that allow for things like know your customer data model that's out there that I will talk about here a little bit in a second. There's quite a few different integrations that are available out there now. And then kind of batch monitoring and batch processes that go in along with some of the core systems that are out there that have made it a little bit easier. Okay, so I kind of started going through this and was trying to figure out how best to show you all this. So this is kind of a screenshot of what one of the Trailhead discovery framework getting to know it is. So again, you can see here, you've got a question bank, if you will, that's in there. That has kind of the asset data model that's in there. There's versioning that's in there, and it basically acts as a repository. That information then gets generated into a script, which is an OmniScript. Again, that used to be Velocity. Now it's OmniStudio and OmniScripts in along that. That is fully native now to the financial services functionality, and one of the big benefits that you get from getting Financial Services Cloud versus Sales or Service Cloud. If you guys are teetering back and forth on that, I know a lot of people still use just the generic Sales and Service Cloud and not Financial Services Cloud, but this is one benefit that you get to it, is that you have all of these. You have those submission response submissions that kind of go in place, and then you've got your assessment information and responses that can come from there. So again, you can create that question repository. You have out-of-the-box capabilities to create super complex forms. And I can actually show a couple of these. I have a couple of different examples that are out here. And I actually brought up a demo org to kind of show a couple of those things as well, since we have a little extra time, since we're only going over the winter stuff today. You have the multi-channel capabilities with OmniStudio, which is really cool. So again, if you create something internally within your organization for a call center to be able to go through some of these, you also have that ability to put it onto a community. You can take that information and put it onto your website. You have the ability to push that information and put it onto a phone or an iPad. I feel like I have a lot of people who want to make sure that they can access these forms and intakes, you know, wherever it is that the client is needing to put that information in. So that's incredibly important. And just wanted to make sure that that was a call out for you all. We, again, store all those responses and then have those easily accessed and available. And this is really helpful for some of your auditing purposes that take place. So as I mentioned, this actually came from a Trailhead, and I have that up. Sorry, I've got a ton of tabs open for you all today. So this specific one is getting started with that discovery framework that's here. And there are really 3 steps to this particular one. It says that it takes you 50 minutes. I think it took me maybe 15 or 20 to get through it in total, reading everything and going through the quizzes. But I felt like it was really informative if you guys are just kind of trying to figure out what the next steps are for you and how you might be able to use this discovery framework in your orgs going forward. For that. All right. And then we've got the onboarding console application information. This is where I'm going to kind of show a couple of things here. One is the intake forms and business rules that you have available. There's quite a few of these that are out of the box within your orgs now. When you go in, you can actually go to the onboarding app that is already in your FSC org. They have pre-configured things for leads to conversions. So if you have a lead, as an example, if you have a lead that's coming in and you need to pull that information in, you can convert that lead. And then in the background, it actually creates that lead as a person account or regular contact, just depending on the type of lead that it is. But kind of out of the box, it turns it into that person account. It automatically assigns roles to them to say that they're going to be the primary policy holder. It's got applications that get started, and then you can actually go into the opportunity portion of that. And from there, you can create applications, add products to that, and kind of go through your quoting process there. Or bringing it on and actually fully putting them into that quote to bind capacity. There are business rules that are automatically built out for this as well. You can obviously change those in any way that you need. And then you have the know your customer integration definitions. And so for those of you who are not super familiar with the IKC or know your customer, it is a setting within Salesforce, and I think I actually have that up. So let me see if I can grab that really quick so you guys can kind of see where that is. It's in your general settings, and you've got this actually know your customer, so you can enable that. And from there, you can use this information. There's a full data model in the background to store information from kind of third parties around verifications for identity and service providers. You've got your screening for your service providers to verify identity of your parties that are coming in, and performing various screening checks in and around those parties. That also go into that party model, if you will, that's sitting in the back of Financial Services Cloud for insurance. Actually, before we go into the document matrix, I am going to show you guys just kind of a quick walkthrough of what an OmniScript might potentially look like. Again, this is an org that I have created. You can see that I've got my test person who is up here with my customer 360 or policyholder 360 of all my policy information. That's out here. I can file claims against these particular items. As you kind of go through your policies, you've got your details pages here with all of the details of your policyholder themselves. Relationships. So this is where your ARC would sit if you have your ARC set up. If you guys are not familiar with the account contact relationship, definitely make sure that you check that out. It's really cool. You've got all of your related information here. So all of your applications and quotes and customer properties and Again, this is properties, but it could be itemized as well, depending on what line of business or what products it is that you're selling and how you have the back end of your products and things configured. You've got all of your activities that are out here as well that you can put in. And then over here on this side, and again, this is completely configurable as you need, but we've got all of the different components. These are just quotes or new claims. This is the out-of-the-box FNOL that's there. And I wanted to just kind of walk you guys through what an Omni script looks like and how kind of some of this onboarding processes would potentially work as you're pulling in applications and those kinds of things. So again, I can come in here, put owner. I'm just going to kind of fill out this information. Now, based on how you answer the information prior to, you can see that the things are required, and it also brings up different questions. So as you kind of talk through that repository bank that sits in the back end, that's how this works, is the ability to have all of those available, and you can update those as versions, which is also really cool. So you don't have to necessarily go through and recreate everything over and over again. I'm gonna just kind of pick specific things and go through quick quotes so that hopefully I don't have to go through tons of information. We're gonna say that I'm a year-round person. And again, as we kind of walk through this process, it's gonna take a little bit. Again, this is a demo org, so it typically doesn't take this long in a production org, but it will take a little bit of time for things to be pulling up here. But it basically just takes you through that process. Oh, goodness. It's taking a minute. Sorry about that. Uh-oh. And then you get those errors. You typically don't get those errors, so I apologize for that. See if I can get it to come up again. All right, well, as that's kind of going in the background, I did also, there's a couple of additional items that we can kind of move on, and we'll come back to that. But document matrix, again, I'm just trying to make sure that we have good timing for you all. The document matrix, again, this is again part of that discovery framework that's out there, where it's really important to collect all the information up front and really figure out your NIGO for any transactions that you have coming on. So you can capture document rules. You have the ability to deploy document rules within the Omni scripts themselves. So again, as you're kind of walking through that process of all of your bank of repository questions and figuring out the back-end business rules on that, you also have the ability to do the same thing with all of your documents as you're kind of building packages to go through that with all the information that you're capturing on the front end of those intake forms and onboarding forms to be able to pull that information through. And I've got a help article that's in here. I'm gonna pull that up really quick just to make sure that I can kind of show you guys the discovery framework for this one. So we've got the add document matrix element here that is put onto the form itself. Again, you can kind of see here what the framework actually looks like, and then you're able to pull that onto your steps 1, 2, and 3. As we had seen in the information that I was going through with the questions that you have, step 1 would be the first page, step 2 would be the second page, step 3 would be the third. And again, those are also configurable based on logic. And then you can bring in the document matrices that go through that. And then I can preview forms that are putting in here as well. Activate those forms. And then add those particular assessment components to the page itself. And then I think I even had on here the layouts for the decision matrices, which I thought was really cool to see. So kind of this is your decision table that comes out with all these document matrices that you can put in specific inputs and outputs in order to make it to determine, you know, what document you're going to put in next. You can actually create documents really easily that are in here, and then be able to pull these in and out as you move forward. Again, you can deploy all these rules in OmniScript. And as I had mentioned before, OmniScripts are available within your org itself. You can also put it into portals. You can put it into websites, which is really nice that you have the ability, depending on who you need to see it. You create something once and it's all reusable. So it's not like you're coding things over and over and over again. I have a lot of people who have worked through, and I'm gonna go ahead and mute really quick. Somebody? Okay. I have a lot of people who are trying to determine, do we do this in one of our other systems or we do this in Salesforce? One of the benefits of doing this in Salesforce is you have that reusability and the ability to deploy things significantly faster. I actually was just on a call recently with somebody and they said for the FNOL process to be put in the claims management system that they're currently using today, it was going to take somewhere from 9 months to a year to deploy. If you look at the FNOL process within Salesforce, typically it takes a couple with discovery all the way through for just those particular forms. It takes a couple of months at best. And so you can see there, while having information all in one system might make sense, you have that integration ability, especially with some of the OmniStudio capabilities that are out there. But you also have kind of faster to market, which is also great. All right. So that's kind of part of the discovery framework. Again, they've got a lot of templates and cool things that are out there. I would advise you guys, I'll be posting all of this information with all of these links as well to the channel. If you guys are not familiar with the group discussion channels that we have, if you guys, because there's a little bit of disparity between how you guys sign up for the actual meetings that we have and then becoming a member of the Trailblazer community. But if you're in this discussion group, there's a little over 600 and some people that are in here, and I post all this information in here as well. So just make sure that you kind of go sign up for this, and then you'll be able to see all of that. I also will be putting this up on my YouTube channel too, so you guys can check it out there. But I would definitely go through some of those trailheads and some of that documentation. It is really powerful and really faster to market with all these templates and the services that sit in the back end that you can truly configure, as opposed to having to build from scratch, which up until the most recent harmonization that took place over the past year, which is why there hasn't been a ton of new features and functionality that have come out for insurance recently. That's kind of where we're seeing the harmonization benefits put in place now, because everything is just innate within Financial Services Cloud as opposed to being part of that managed package with Velocity, if you guys were using Velocity before. Okay, so customer service overall, they have quite a few new templates that have come out here for your self-service. So again, this is your community information that's out there and available to you. That low touch, which is your customer services reps that are out there, and then maybe your bankers, agents, policyholders, those kinds of things. And so there's a couple of items that I wanted to really highlight in here. Some of this, again, is a little bit more banking focused. But you have some additional elevated user experiences that are here. There's some additional self-service, which again, community portal related templates that are out there that you can configure and put your own branding styles and guidelines into it, but have kind of all that back end components, which again, gets you to market significantly faster than having to build something from scratch on some of the portals that I've seen insurance companies currently using, because those are all custom and coded. You've got your CSR consoles that are in here as well. Again, you can kind of go into the apps and see those, which is really cool. You've got your purpose-built automations that are here, complaint management, transaction disputes. We can talk a little bit more about those. You have a lot of information direct to MuleSoft now. So those who are muleys that are out there in the world, or if you guys are looking at potentially having MuleSoft as one of your ETL tools that are out there, you have the ability to go directly to FSC, where before you did not. You kind of went into some different items in the background for that. And then finally, your financial services AI components that are out there as well. That is coming in the spring 24 release. So actually, if you guys have your sandbox preview available to you now, you should be able to see some of this information for the spring 24 already in your previews. I think that those GA in February. And again, I apologize that I don't have somebody on to talk about Spring 24 today, since they weren't able to join, but we'll be discussing all of those items coming up in the next week or so. So here's just kind of some improved customer experiences. Again, this is part of that harmonization that's taken place over the course of the last year or so. You've got your console for banking, which again, that's banking oriented specifically, but you've got your identification verification that takes place. There's some integrations that go, and again, that kind of ties into know your customer and enabling that specific feature to be able to have that as kind of, it was originally an interaction launcher is what it was called from a velocity perspective, that has now been built into the consoles and is just readily available to be pulled onto a page layout, as opposed to having significant amount of configuration from a managed package perspective, which is really cool. You also have your engagement timeline that is out there. Again, that's kind of here where you can see all the multiple steps that have happened from that particular policyholder or agent that is calling in, and you're trying to service them in some way, shape, or form. You have your financial accounts 360. I'm actually going to show some information here about that in a second, so I'll come back to that. You have your integrated alerts, and this was something that was really cool. And I actually personally didn't realize that there were so many built-in alerts that were out there. And so I wanted to pull that up as well, to just kind of show, you're alerting your agents when member records have specific information, but this is all built in the back end. And so if you kind of see how many that are out there and available, I didn't realize that there were this many flows that had been created, like just straight up out of the box and available to use, as opposed to having to configure them until I started really looking at this information closely when I was going through some of the builds and things. So this is really cool. And again, faster to market, being able to use and configure something very quickly, as opposed to having to build it from scratch, especially those who are admins yourselves. It really saves a significant amount of time as you guys are moving forward. As I mentioned before, that kind of action launcher that's available there. And then you've also got your Service Process Studio that is out there. Service Process Studio, I think, is what they are going to be kind of renaming OmniStudio to a certain extent for your services console perspective. And there's a lot of information. They actually just did a webinar about that earlier this week. There's a lot of information about there on that. I'll make sure that I also link that in some of the pages that we've got as well. So this particular YouTube, this is actually from Salesforce, and I went and found it on YouTube. I will also be posting this link. But as we kind of talked about that financial 360, this particular piece of this, and I'll bring up the YouTube video here in just a second. This really allows your insurers to be able to see the AI-driven insights and customer analytics, have the ability to maximize your operational efficiencies with kind of that hyper-personalized marketing, which that streamlines acquisitions, that delivers better experiences. And it really truly does seamlessly and securely manage your policies and claims with that ability to be able to see all this information on some of your kind of pipeline reporting and those kinds of things. They also have the ability for all of those who have advisors out there. Maybe you kind of are, maybe you're not in PNC, but more of a life annuities, those kinds of things. You have the ability to understand your clients' relationships. You have the goals that are set out there to be able to drive strategic interactions within them. And it also gives the ability to empower your middle and back office support teams to be able to see some of this information as well, which really helps with that. Again, as we talked about that customer onboarding experience that they have new templates and things for that are out there, it really drives the ability for them to be able to have those exceptional customer onboarding experiences for all of their financial goals within your organizations, depending on if you're wealth and asset management, who's kind of dipping into insurance and vice versa. Again, I'm seeing a lot of cross-pollination between those two industries at this point in time. So there is a YouTube video that is out here that kind of talks about all of this and gives you a really quick walkthrough of it. I'm going to pull it up really quick just so you guys can kind of see where it sits, and I will play that really quickly for you all as well. All right, so now I'll shush for just a second while we go through this.
Salesforce Customer 360 for financial services empowers banks, insurers, and wealth management firms to serve and delight customers across any channel or device. With the Customer 360, companies leverage an intelligent, fully connected platform, providing 360-degree views of every customer. Now you can secure customers for life by ensuring every client, borrower, and policyholder experience is seamless throughout the journey to turn financial dreams into reality sooner. Financial services organizations and teammates can create hyper-personalized customer experiences across any channel during any type of interaction. Whether it's customer self-service or teammate interaction, automation and intelligence helps drive exceptional front, middle, and back office experiences. Banks can delight customers with every interaction, resolve issues faster, and build lifelong trust by engaging customers in the way they want at just the right moment. Lenders can shorten origination times and decrease extra manual steps with automation, workflows, and integrations, while supporting data privacy and regulations, turning applications into approvals in just a few clicks. Insurers can see AI-driven insights and customer analytics to maximize operational efficiency, with hyper-personalized marketing to streamline acquisition and deliver better experiences while seamlessly and securely managing policies and claims. And advisors can easily understand their clients' relationships, needs, and goals to drive strategic interactions, while empowering middle and back office support teams with exceptional customer onboarding and service experiences to build a lifetime of financial wellness. See how to create experiences that delight every customer.
Okay, so that's just a little showcase in general of how that works. And again, as I had mentioned, you kind of just saw this. They have the Experience Cloud templates that are now out there and available. Something else that I thought was really cool was the ability to schedule and manage appointments a little bit more seamlessly from a winner perspective. And then viewing knowledge base, which was also really cool. That was not necessarily there before in such a robust format. So definitely make sure you go check those out. Those are just kind of note. So this particular one is definitely more banking oriented, but again, as I'd mentioned, there's a lot of cross-pollination. I'm talking to a lot of banks who are looking to sell insurance these days, especially as they are originating loans and things like that and trying to insure the loans that they're originating for all of those particular businesses. So the dispute management provides a streamlined process for your users to capture and submit customer disputes related to any of the financial transactions that they currently have. They use Service Process Studio, again, as I had mentioned, kind of that old OmniStudio, which is now being rebranded as always. That's kind of Salesforce fashion in order to kind of get that guided step-by-step process. And they have templates that are in here for this as well. So if you go and open this specific template, you'll see all the particular steps that are in here. You have the kind of pre-configured flows that are in the back end. And logic in the back end that you can tailor to your own needs. And then, as I'd mentioned before, from an intake perspective or a questions bank perspective, you also have that ability to do that too. So some service automation flows that are out there and available at this point in time. We've got quite a few different flows that are out there in the template library. Some of them obviously pertain to banks and those kinds of things, but there are a few that pertain specifically to the insurance community, obviously managing your beneficiaries in some way, shape, or form, depending on what particular insurance product that you're selling. And then also the address change, which again can be done with pretty much everybody. I do also have this available and see if I can get my demo org to actually work for me now on this particular one. I'm going to just cancel out of that because it's still just going like crazy over there. But you can see here, you've got your update mailing address. So I can push this information from an action perspective. It's going to launch that kind of templated out of the box version of things. Here's what my current address is. I'm going to search for a new address. This actually, you can do this one of two ways. You can use Google search in the back end, which is what a lot of people do. Or if you have specific address, like I've had customers who have addresses that are a little bit different than what Google is, which I found was very interesting. You can put this to any database you'd like in order to kind of do some searches. I can choose that specific search, search that out, fill that information in, and then do my next step. And then that information automatically updates. So now you can see that my mailing address is updated. I do a home, and then it takes me back to that policyholder 360 page, where you can then see that the details of the information has been updated now. So again, just kind of a few different areas that are out there to just get things a little bit faster to market for you all as you kind of think through. So those flow automations and templates that are out there. Personalized financial engagement. Kelly Utley did a really amazing job at kind of walking through this. So I'm actually gonna do a demo for you all here on this one too. Let's see if I have this particular one that's out there. It is a Salesforce Vineyard one. So she'll kind of walk you through this, and then we can talk about what we just saw afterwards. And I told you I had tons and tons of things open today. All right, so
Today, let's explore financial goals and plans available as part of the Winter 24 release with Financial Services Cloud. Many banks and wealth managers have goal planning applications, but they're disconnected from overall customer engagement. So customers do not think their financial institutions are invested in their financial well-being. When financial firms have a strong understanding of their customers' financial goals, they can better anticipate their needs and deliver more personalized communications. With financial goals and plans, you can create workflows to deliver personalized experiences and proactive actions to drive the financial outcomes that create lifelong customers.
Pausing here for just a second. Again, I'd mentioned before that account relationship hierarchy structure that you can put in place. This is just a really good example of what the arc looks like. So if you have not kind of explored this in any way, shape, or form, make sure that you go and check it out because it is really cool.
Use prepackaged user experiences to capture goals or leverage business APIs to integrate them from a financial planning platform. Bankers, agents, and wealth managers can help customers create financial goals, prioritize them, and add household members, all right in their CRM. They can assign an action plan for each goal to help customers stick to their commitments and see a summary of all related interactions with the customer. Bankers, agents, and advisors have visibility into each goal and can see progress toward them for a customer. Financial Services Cloud provides a complete view of all goal details. When you use financial goals and plans, you can support your customers' financial wellness journeys with personalized engagement to build loyalty.
Awesome. Okay. So as we kind of look through some of those, again, these are just some really cool statistics that show that you need to be able to pull all this information together into one for a financial 360 of what your particular customer looks like and how they can actually share those personal goals and data in along with it. So we just saw the demo of this, but you've got your goal planning data model that is out there, and also your business APIs that are available for you now. You've got kind of this prepackaged templatized experience to be able to just deploy out fairly quickly based on some configurations that might take place, as opposed to having to start everything from scratch and building everything from scratch, which is really cool. You've got some custom components that are in there that can be configured as you need when you kind of think of some of these particular components that are here on the page layout itself. And then you've got your actions for goal planning as well. Another thing that recently came out for kind of our financial advisors that are out there in that space from an insurance perspective, you've got your newly updated actionable segmentation list, which is actually really cool. Previously available, you had your created and share list. You've got your cross-object filtering and your outreach status. Now you have the ability to create segments from Data Cloud too. And if you guys have not signed up for our February 9th meeting that we have coming up, I actually have the person who's in charge of all of the Data Cloud product, and also one of the senior architects from Salesforce, who actually spent about 20 years in the insurance industry. They are going to come over and talk significant amount about data cloud insurance use cases, and how you can get started, some of the AI components that go in along with that, and how you might be able to use data cloud. If anyone is interested, I know that's something that is very top of mind for everybody, as Salesforce is pushing it right now with that. But I thought that I would just do a little call out for our February 9th. I believe that's February 9th that's coming up. It's a Friday. So make sure that you come check that out, because we've got some cool people who are going to be on here. We've also got dynamic actions, which are really neat in here. And then you have the ability to refresh the list, which before you were not able to do. All right, specific to insurance innovations that we've got going on here. So out of sequence endorsements. This is actually really cool for anyone who is using policy administration or looking to use policy administration within the financial services cloud and some of the components around the Salesforce for Industries components. There is a separate license that goes from a policy admin perspective that is needed. So again, that forward statement, make sure that you're buying the right licenses as you guys move forward with things. But they do have the ability not to just endorse, which was obviously there before, but now you have the ability to sequence endorsements. So I actually was talking through a use case of this recently with a customer who has commercial products that are out there, and some of the components or pieces where they know that this particular commercial policy insurance or insured person group is planning on bringing in some additional machinery. And they're trying to get that endorsement, but the actual endorsement doesn't take place until a specific date later on down the road. So you have the ability to put multiple endorsements in at once, and then it will actually sequence those out for you, which I thought was really neat. And then it has the ability to put those payment schedules and transactions in place with those. And then they obviously have the ability to have external access via community or an API into your own portals or your own additional policy admin items as well. They also have group benefits enhancements that have come into play. This kind of ties back into that discovery framework and some of those onboarding templates that they have available. This has come up a lot recently for group benefits and was something that was desperately needed when it comes to some of those large groups, both for health and then for, some of those other supplemental group benefits that are out there, depending on who it is that you guys are, or what type of products and insurance companies that you guys are working with. They have the enhanced enrollment experience that's available. Again, that's pre-populated templates that are out there. They have that available via a portal that you can push in. They have that available so that you can put it into additional apps and things like that embedded in. It can be into a website, etc. That allows for that enrollment experience to happen pretty seamlessly. Again, this was not something that was available there before, and it's a lot smoother for the particular end users who are trying to enroll their people in. You have workflows for new hires and for terminations, especially if you think through your agents and as people are coming in from a new hire perspective, termination perspective. It also goes to end users for new hires and terminations of those as well. So you've got both aspects there. And then they have now large group quoting, which they did not have before, which is an awesome component to things as well. All right, that took 50 minutes or 48 minutes actually in total. Helpful links here. I'm gonna again post this all out, but you have the ability to join the success community that's here. You have your financial services group that is a step above. So again, I told you I'm kind of running both of those at this point in time. They're looking for ability to potentially consolidate those two. And then we've also got all the Trailblazer community groups that are out there as well. I apologize that I wasn't able to go through all of the spring 24. We need to get through next Wednesday, and then I'm hoping that maybe next Friday we'll be able to pull those people in to be able to speak of the spring 24. That will be related specific to the insurance capabilities. There are a significant amount of them out there. If you guys have not already checked out the release notes that are out there, there are a significant amount of release notes. Here's all of the winter release notes that take place and all of the particular items that were available to you here. You can also see that there are the spring release notes as well. So again, this is what we're going to be covering next week, hopefully when my Salesforce person is available to me to be able to walk through those. I apologize that we weren't able to go through those today, but please make sure that you go through those. There are not any trailheads specific to these at this point in time. And with that, I guess just open up the floor to questions. Is there anyone who has any questions? Anything cool that you saw? Are you guys using any of these items to date? I can kind of stop sharing screen for a minute and see if there's anyone out there who's interested in kind of sharing what you've got going on. I know I was a bobblehead and talked a bunch to you all at once. All right, I'm also going to look at chats really quick, make sure I got all of those. Oh, Rodrigo, I do believe that those features should be available in IDEA.org. You should be able to pull that information in. Okay, so Jonathan, I can kind of answer this, and then we actually have I'm putting together a presentation that will be coming up hopefully soon as well. But the question is, what do you guys see as immediate GPT applications for insurance? There's a couple of things from a servicing and sales perspective, a little bit of both. One from an agent perspective, as you kind of are thinking through those sales, the ability to summarize kind of interactions that you have with your particular customer, especially if they're getting ready to prepare for an upcoming meeting with a policyholder or potential prospect. There is some cool capabilities that they have in there now or are coming out soon, where you can kind of summarize where all of their financial information sits today, and also have the ability to create emails and things that have a little bit more of your agent voice, if you will. You can ask them to kind of re-say how it is that the ChatGPT will write an email for you. You can, kind of make it a little bit better for you. So again, that's productivity and just being able to use that. I don't think that we necessarily have major components where you don't have somebody really truly reviewing the information. I don't think it's ready to just kind of be turned on and thrown out into the community. But I have seen some of those from a GPT perspective as well. I've also seen on the services side of things, we actually did a component of this at Dreamforce, where we were able to show summaries of cases from a CSR perspective. As it goes out, they actually create email responses once the chats are completed from a servicing perspective that kind of explain what just recently happened, what the case was all about. It summarizes that case and is able to put that up. And then you can even add components in for knowledge to be able to share that information across all of your CSRs so that you can have additional knowledge groups that are available from an Einstein ChatGPT perspective too. All right, two things that are following in here. So Copilot would be interesting to see if ChatGPT can learn from policy coverage forms. Let me look into that one a little bit. Again, it's an ever evolving situation right now for sure. But as we are kind of thinking through some of the use cases that I'm wanting some of my solution engineers to demo out, we'll definitely be able to check that one out for you for sure. And then let's see, new members flow was something we were expecting for group benefits. We solved the scenario, but it's good to know it's available full-time. Yep, absolutely. It is available good full-time, which is really neat. We've done a lot of kind of workarounds, if you will, of things that we were expecting to see over the course of the last couple of years. So it is kind of cool to see some of the things that we had pre-built from a kind of custom perspective or custom config perspective to now be shown as just templates that you can very easily go in and configure. It's going to really significantly reduce the amount of time that it's going to take to go to market with some of these items. And obviously that's reducing cost and those kinds of things as well. Awesome. Is there anything else that I can answer?
Thanks for putting this on. No questions, but we're actually looking to move to FSC. We've used Sales and Service Cloud since the very, very beginning, and we have a gnarly org with lots of things connected. So I've been spending a lot of time with contractor squads and with Salesforce as well to just evaluate FSC and if the need is there for us. So this was helpful. So thank you.
Awesome. We'll also make sure, Amy, that you go back and check out some previous items that we've done. Specifically, we did a Dreamforce session that we actually eventually recorded here as well with Jody Wagner, who is part of the product marketing and solutions team, that talked about if you should move to financial services cloud, some of the considerations that are in and around that. So make sure you go check that out too. I record all of these just so that people can go back and review them as well.
Great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Rodrigo, let's see. Does the document matrices feature replace the document checklist item feature? I don't believe it replaces it. I think it's in addition to. All right. Any other questions from anybody else? Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much for spending the last hour of your day with me. I really appreciate it. Again, I do apologize that we weren't able to see that Spring 24 stuff today. It is previewed, available in your sandboxes if you don't currently have it. And I'm hoping that after fiscal year that we'll be able to bring that person back on to talk with us next Friday. So be on the lookout for that. Also make sure that you go join the community group. I post everything there. So if you miss it in some way, shape, or form, everything is always recorded so you can go back and review it later. Awesome. You all have a fantastic rest of your day, Friday afternoon, weekend. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, hopefully for some of you. And I will be chatting with you guys here in the next couple of weeks with some cool new items that are coming out. Also, make sure that you go check out that data cloud and AI generation piece. I'm really excited to have some of those high-level Salesforce arcs come in and talk to us. So, all right. Thanks all. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.